Lupin Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Good day, students. I am teacher Jennifer Naik from Mount Mary's Higher Secondary School, Chinchinim, and I teach secretarial practice. Today, I will be doing the first unit with you, Unit 1, Issue of Shares. The topic may have been started with you in the class, but we will be going through the whole topic again. Now, for the first mid-test, you have two units. Unit 1, Issue of Shares, and Unit 2A, Correspondence with Members of a Company, and Unit 2B, Correspondence with Directors of a Company. So, this is for your first mid-test. Now, from these two units, I will be explaining to you issue of shares. This is a vast unit. It's a lengthy unit compared to all the units that are in the textbook. The allocation of marks for this unit by Goa board is 12 marks. Now, since this chapter is lengthy, we will be dividing this unit into 3, and I will be starting with the first part of the unit. Now, the first part in this that we are going to go through is, now in unit of issue of shares, now these are the topics I will be covering up today. Capital market, meaning primary market, meaning features, mode of raising capital in primary market, and the different modes you can see on the screen that is put forward before you, and secondary market, meaning and functions. This is what I will be covering up today in my lesson. Now, the first thing that we are going to learn is regarding capital market. Now, what is capital market? Capital market is a market for long-term funds. It includes owners' funds and borrowed funds. Capital market comprises of primary market and secondary market. Now, please listen carefully to what I am telling you. Capital market is a market for long-term funds. Now, when I say long-term funds, remember that when you have funds for a long period of time, you have finance, you have capital, for a long period of time, you can plan your capital. You can undertake big projects because we have capital for a long-term period. We don't have to worry about returning the capital back. Okay? We don't have problem of returning the capital back immediately. We have to return it in the long term, but we can plan our finance because of this. So, that is the meaning of long-term funds. Now, it includes owners' funds and borrowed funds. Now, when I say owners' funds, all of you will be knowing I am referring to shares, because share capital is ownership capital. Shareholders are the owners of the company. You have studied this in your 11th standard. So, shareholders are the owners of the company, part owners of the company. So, when I say part owners, because they are owners of the company, they receive something that is called as dividend. The return that they receive for investing in the company is dividend. Okay? Now, borrowed funds is funds like debentures, bonds, where company borrow money from the public. So, borrowed funds, on borrowed funds, the investors will receive interest. You have seen on debentures, debenture holders receive interest. So am I clear about both this? Owners funds are people who have shares in the company because they are part owners of the company and they will receive dividend on shares. Borrowed funds are debenture capital because on that they will receive interest. And the last part, capital market comprises of primary market and secondary market. Now this may be a little bit new to you. Okay, capital market comprises of primary market and secondary market. Now when I say primary market, it means new issue of shares. And when I say secondary market, it means shares that are already existing in the market. Those shares will be bought and sold between investors. Now I'm going into depth with regarding primary market and secondary market. So now what I explained to you was capital market, its meaning. Now I am going on to primary market. So you will understand the concept of primary market over here. Now you can read on the screen, primary market is a market where new securities are sold to the public, usually with the help of investment bankers. Now when I say new securities, it means the companies are coming up with the shares in the market for the first time. Okay, they are coming up in the market with shares for the first time. And when they do this, they issue new shares in the market, they always take the help of bankers. Okay, so that's why they have given the definition with the help of investment bankers. Now see, in primary market, you can see all the notes put around this. In primary market, they receive finance. The company receives finance. So you can see there lots of money that is coming into this. Now how do they receive this money? Okay, the question is, how do they receive this money? Now one of the features of primary market is they come up with a new issue of securities or initial public offer. That means they are coming up with the issue of shares for the first time in the market. Please remember that. These shares are not existing in the market. The company is issuing the shares for the first time. So I hope you can see, I have put a picture for you of IPO. IPO means initial public offering. First time the company is selling shares in the market. Now students, please make a note here. It may be new issue of shares. It means a new company is issuing their shares in the market, or companies that are already existing but they are selling new shares in the market, not the shares that are already in the market. So I hope it is clear to you. Primary market is a market for new issue of securities. Now when I say securities, please keep in mind I am talking about shares also. Different types of securities of its shares. So they are coming up with a new issue of securities, okay, and it is for the first time. First time, initial public offer means they are offering it to the public for the first time. So this is one of the features of a primary market. Now the second feature of a primary market. Look at the screen. You will see in your picture here which explains it to you very clearly. Now check the arrow marks. See, the company is issuing shares to the investor. You can see the arrow mark. The company is issuing shares to the investor. And what the investor is doing, he is paying money for the shares to the company. Okay, so what happens over here? Now look at my meaning given to you. The investor's money goes directly to the company. Okay, so there is no one else here. The money goes directly to the company as the shares are bought from the company. as the shares are purchased directly from the company. Okay, is it clear? So you can see very well that in a primary market, this is a basic feature. The shares, the company issues shares, the investor buys the shares, the money goes directly to the company. So that is the second feature of your primary market. Now the third feature. It is a market to collect long-term funds. See again, long-term funds. Okay, for a long period of time you can have this investment with you, either to start a new company or to expand the existing company. Now why do you need this finance? Now you need this finance either to start your business. Look at the picture I have put for you so that it remains in your mind. Okay, so you can see here it is to start your business. With this finance that you have, long-term finance, you can start your business, or expanding means your existing business that is there, what you are doing? You are expanding it. Say if you have a shop or say a mall where you are selling only garments, but you realize that there is scope for you. So what you do? You divert into consumer products. You open a side by side. So you are expanding your business. So that's why this finance can be used. So primary market, they raise finance for long-term funds or to start a new company or to expand the existing company. So I hope these three features of a primary market are clear to you. So the first one is they come up with the issue of shares for the first time, the money goes directly to the company, and the third is it is used either to start a new company or to expand your existing company. So I'll go on to the next. Now, in primary market, they have 4 modes of raising capital. Now, the first mode of raising capital is an IPO. Okay, they have 4 modes of raising capital, from which the first one I'm doing now is IPO, initial public offering. Now, it is initial public offering I've already touched when I was teaching with you primary market. So when they come up with a new issue of securities in the market for the first time. Okay, so that is very clear. I'm not going much more into it. Then, while issuing an IPO, okay, what is done? Again, you can see in an initial public offering the features. I'm doing the features of IPO. You can see the investor's money goes directly to the company. Remember that picture I showed you. Okay, the company's money where the investor buys it and the money goes directly to the company. So this is the feature of that. Investor's money goes directly to the company for the new issue of shares. Then, it is a larger source of funds. It has a long indefinite maturity. Again, I said, when you raise capital through shares, you get a large source of funds, and you know that share capital is returned only at the time of winding up of the company. I'm reminding you here. So that's why it has a long indefinite maturity. As long as the company is a going concern, the capital remains with you. Okay, so that is an advantage. Then third, it is made through the book building method. Now this is new to you, book building method. Now I'll be discussing book building with you in detail, then you will know what it is. But book building is where the shares are built through the method of a book. Okay, people keep applying for the shares through the book building method. So every day your share prices increase, your people start buying for the shares, and that's how the book is built. Book is built means the amount for shares people have subscribed for. Okay, so book building method or predetermined price. Now predetermined price means the company fixes the price of the shares initially in the beginning. So if it suits the buyer will apply for the shares. Okay, that's the meaning of it. And then next, shares of an IPO. Again, shares of an initial public offering is traded in the demat form. Students, I don't know if you know what is a demat account. A demat, the full form of demat is dematerialization of shares. Dematerialization of shares is when physical shares is converted into electronic shares. Okay, so you don't have a physical share certificate. When I say physical, it means you have a hard copy with you. You have a paper with you to show the shares. But over here, it is in the electronic form. So you don't have any physical paper with you, but you have it in the electronic form. So shares in an IPO are traded in the demat form. Now when I say demat form, then you have to have a demat account. Without a demat account, you cannot trade in shares. Please remember that. So you have to open a demat account, which is similar to a bank account, but you have to go through a broker. The broker will open the demat account for you. Okay? You have another part where you will be doing the details of dematerialization of shares, where you understand this better. But for the time being, don't confuse yourself. Just see that you have understood that traded in demat form, the demat account is like a bank account. That much you have to remember. So if this is clear to you, I am going on to the next. Now the second mode of raising capital, the first mode is IPO. The second mode of raising capital is book building process, what I was talking to you as a feature of IPO, where it can be made through the book building method. So over here, now we are going to study what is a book building process. Now see, the meaning is given to you here. It is a process of price discovery. Over here, you discover the price. The company gives you more or less the price, but here you are discovering the price. You are putting your price that you want for a shares. But how you are putting it, I will be explaining to you. Second, it is determined on the basis of demand of investors. Okay, you will see how many people, how many investors want these shares. How many investors are bidding for these shares. How many investors are going to go on applying for these shares. Okay, so it is determined on the basis of demand of investors. And third, it is a process of fixing price at various price levels. Now you will say, how can this be various price levels? I will be explaining that to you as we go into the features of book building. Okay, so please do not get confused. Now over here you can see book building features. Okay. Now the first thing is they will give you a price range. The company gives you a price range. You have two prices over here. Just look at my picture on the screen. You can see you have a floor price, which is a lower price, and the cap price, which is the upper price. Now, the lower price is called the floor price. Okay? The lower price is called the floor price, and the upper price is called the cap price. So two price ranges are given to you over here. The cap price is the upper price. The company will fix the upper price and the company will fix the lower price, that is your floor price. Now I want you to remember, for you not to get confused or to forget when you are studying this, now please remember cap. Where do you use your cap? You use your cap on your head. Okay, upper part of your body. So remember, cap price is the upper price. And the floor, your feet are on the floor, it's always down. So that will be your lower price. Okay, so these are the key words to remember this, not to get confused. So cap price is the upper price, the floor price is your lower price. Now you have to bid for the shares between the cap price and the floor price. Okay, you have to apply for the shares between the cap price and the floor price. The cap price cannot exceed 20% of the floor price. So you cannot demand for shares more than 20% of the floor price. Suppose your floor price cost is 100 rupees. Okay? What is 20% of 100? Is 20 rupees. So you cannot bid for the shares for more than 120 rupees. So your range for this in my example will be between 100 to 120. Only this is your price range. I hope I am clear to you. Your price range will be between the cap price and your floor price. And you have to bid for the shares or apply for the shares within this range. You cannot go above 120, you cannot go below 100 in my example. Okay, the company's price of shares may be any amount, but in my example, you cannot go beyond this. Okay, so this is called as your price range. Okay, I hope I am clear to you. Now see, investors can offer to buy the shares at any price within the price range. So when if you are an investor, you will invest for the shares between this range, between the cap price and the floor price. So this is your first feature of your book building process. Now I am going to the next one. Now, book running lead manager and syndicate member. Now see, the company nominates a book running lead manager, BRLM in short form we call them, to manage the IPO. IPO is your initial public offer. Now when I say book running lead manager, means the company is appointing someone to do the work for them. They are not going to do the work themselves. Of course, the BRLM is going to charge whatever their fees are to the company, but the company doesn't mind paying those fees. Okay, so when I say nominate means they are appointing somebody to do the work for you. So over here, the company nominates. Please remember the meaning of nominate is appointing somebody. So the company nominates a BRLM to manage your issue of shares. That is the first thing. Companies may also appoint syndicate members. Okay, syndicate members are again people whose help they take, okay, to input the order. When I say input, to receive the order from the public, and they put it into the electronic book. Now I told you shares are traded in the demat form. So that is what I mean by electronic book. Please listen carefully. You may find this a little bit difficult as it is something new that you are dealing with. So companies appoint BRLM or a syndicate member to do the work for them. What work? Initial public offer, to take the shares and put it in the electronic book. Okay, so that is the second feature of a book building process. Now the third point of book building process that we are going through is bidding of shares. Now what is the meaning of bidding? Bidding means an auction. Okay, all of you know what's an auction? Auction is when the person starts selling a good, say, at a minimum price. He will not go below that price, say 5,000 rupees. Okay, I am selling something for 5,000 rupees and I'll say, okay, I'm selling a watch for 5,000 rupees. Now people will start bidding for the price higher than that. No one can go below 5,000 rupees. Now the highest bidder, suppose a person bids, the last person who bids for the price at 45,000 rupees and no one else is quoting for a price above that, then the person who's conducting the auction, as you can see that hammer in his hand, he bangs it on the table thrice. 1, 2, 3. And that person will receive the watch. That is in my example. But this is what I put a picture for you, is a physical bidding that takes place between people where you can see each other. But now what I am explaining to you is through the electronic form. Okay? Bids are an offer within the price range collected from the investor during the IPO. So IPO is your initial public offer, and I told you a price range. Your price range is what? Your cap price and your floor price. So only within that price range they have to bid for the shares. Okay, they have to tell their price. Some may say, in my example, between the 100 and 120 rupees, they may say 105, some may say 110, some may say 115, some may say 120. Okay, people will keep on bidding for the shares. Now, bids cannot be entered less than the floor price. This is what I told you. In my example, I said my floor price is 100 rupees. They cannot go below 100 rupees. Investors can revise their bids during the issue period. Now, this is the best part of bidding. Here, investors can revise their price. Suppose on the first day, I have bidded for the shares for 115 rupees. Again, coming back to my example, referring to my example. But I realize in that price range, no one has bidded for 115 rupees. They have bidded for less than that. Okay? So what I do, I change my price. I come lower and I make it 112 rupees. So what I am doing, I am revising my price. Okay? I am revising my price. I am changing my price. Now, let me divert a little from here. Now, companies keep the IPO open. They should keep it open for a minimum of at least 3 days. It has to be open in the market, but up to a maximum of 10 days. Please remember the number, minimum of 3 days and maximum up to 10 days. So, depending on each company, some may keep it open for 3 days, some 5 days, some 8 days, some 10 days, but not more than 10 days, not less than 3 days. So, during this time period, okay, the investors can revise their bids. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. Now, going on to the next. Now, we have another price over here. See, you have studied about cap price, which is on your head, floor price, which is the lower price. Now, you are studying another price, and that is your cutoff price. You can see over here, you have your cutoff price. Now, what is this cutoff price? The cutoff price is the highest price in the price range. So, it is the highest price. The people who have bidded for the shares at the highest level within this price range will receive the shares. So, the cutoff price is the highest price. Now, who decides the cutoff price? The cutoff price is decided by the BRLM, your book running lead manager, who is appointed by the company I told you, and the issuing company. Issuing company means that company which is coming up with the issue of shares. Okay, students? So, cutoff price, two things you have to remember. The highest price in the price range will be the cutoff price. Okay, don't get mixed up with upper price. Upper price is the cap price. Okay, and cutoff price is the highest price. And the cutoff price is decided by whom? Two people, the BRLM and the company. They decide what is going to be the highest price. Okay. Now, the next is, who are the type of investors? Which type of people invest in the shares? Okay. Qualified institutional buyers, people who are dealing with shares, qualified institutional buyers. Okay. Banks, insurance, financial institutions, okay, they invest in shares. They also invest in IPOs. Non-institutional buyers, it may not be an institution, but other people also investing in shares. Retail individual buyers, people like you and me, we also may want to invest in shares. So, we are retail individual buyers, single buyers. And foreign institutional investors. Foreign institute means outside markets also invest in our share market. Okay, so, people who are not from India, but they may also want to invest in our shares. So, these are the type of investors who invest in our share. Then you can see Now I put this picture for you. You can see from small it keeps growing and growing and it grows higher. So what I am trying to explain to you, the share price is determined on the basis of actual demand for shares within the price range. So every day the demand keeps growing. Okay? Every day the demand keeps growing. The demand for securities can be known every day as the book is built. So you can check these prices every day till the issue is open. You can check these prices every day. So every day you will see that the prices keep increasing. See the next picture, the price of the shares is slowly going up. You can see the upward arrow. Okay, so this is what it is showing you, that the demand for securities can be known every day as the book is built. That is why we call it as a book building process, every day. Now people who write a book, they don't finish their book in a short period of time. It takes them, some people may take a year, but here it is not like that. Here we are dealing with shares, not about writing a book. So over here, every day the book is built because people keep on applying for the shares. So, but it has to be done within the price range. So, the actual demand for shares will be determined within the price range. If somebody has bidded for the shares above the price range, they will not get any shares. If anyone has bidded for the shares below the price range, they will not get any shares. So, they have to know that bidding for the shares has to be done within the price range. Okay, so I hope I am clear to you. Now, so far students, I have done two modes of raising capital with you. First is IPO, initial public offer, and the second one is book building process. Okay, now the third one I am going to go through is called as private placement. Okay, pay attention now. Private placement. What is the meaning of private placement? Private placement is an offer of securities or invitation to subscribe to securities to a select group of persons by a company. Now, what is the meaning of this? Over here, the company is offering shares or inviting people to subscribe to shares, but to whom? Not to the entire public. They are giving it to a select group of persons. They are selecting a group of persons. The company is selecting a group of persons. They are not keeping it open in the market for the public to buy the shares. Okay, they are not keeping it open for the public to buy the shares. They are keeping it open in the market. So over here I have put this picture. See the down picture. Suppose this is the company inside the circle, and you can see the arrow marks 4. So the company is selecting whom they want to buy the shares. Okay? You cannot just apply for the shares. The company is going to decide to whom to ask to buy the shares. So this is private placement. And here I put a picture for you where they make a deal. The companies are making a deal with the selected person with whom he has asked to subscribe to the shares. Now, who are these select group of persons? Okay, they can be financial institutions, they can be banks, they can be mutual funds. So it can be anyone whom the company feels like inviting. Now I am going to the features of private placement. Now the first feature of private placement. Now this offer of shares or offer of securities can be made to not more than 200 people. Please remember the number, 200 people. So over here the company sends an offer letter. They offer the shares to not more than 200 people. That is the maximum limit the company will offer the shares to. But they will select to whom they are going to give the shares. Okay? The public cannot subscribe for the shares. They will decide who will apply for these shares. So that is the first point. Now the second point, money payable. Now when people buy these shares, they will pay the money either through a check or any banking instrument, okay, or electronic way of paying, e-banking, any way, demand draft, okay, you pay this money through these modes of payment. No cash will be accepted by the company. Cash, I mean hard cash, notes. The company will not accept cash. So you pay this money when you're buying shares of private placement, either through a check or other banking instruments. Now when I said banking instruments, I explained to you it can be through electronic mode of payment also. Now the third point, no advertisement of any type can be made under private placement, because if you make an advertisement, anyone can apply for the shares. Now I told you here in private placement, the company will select whom they are going to give the shares to. The company will select whom they are going to give the shares to. So no advertisement can be made of any sort. Okay, please remember, offer can be made to maximum of 200 people. Money can be paid through any banking instrument, but no hard cash, no money can be paid, notes money can be paid, and no advertisement can be made for these shares, because they are given to a select group of persons. Now there are some more points. Now here, allotment of securities. Shares are allotted only to those persons chosen by the company. This is what I have been telling you in private placement. It will be given only to those people whom the company chooses. No public can offer to buy the shares. Okay, then the fifth point, return of allotment. As I told you, allotment of shares means when any person has applied for the shares, the company gives the shares to them, allot the shares to them. Okay, so the company gives the shares to them, that is called as allotment of shares. So when the company allots shares, all the information, now who has purchased the shares, the name and address of the shareholder, how many shares he has bought, whether 100, 50, 500, 200, 10, okay. All this type of information has to be filed with the registrar of companies within 30 days. ROC, all of you all know who is an ROC by now. ROC is the registrar of companies, okay, where information has to be given to the registrar of company from time to time. Whatever information or whatever things the company is doing, this information has to reach the ROC. So over here, once allotment of shares is done, the information regarding the shareholders and how many shares given to them has to be filed with the ROC within a period of 30 days. Please remember 30 days, the number. Then coming to time period. Please listen carefully to this. A company should allot shares within 60 days of receiving the application money. So once the company receives the application money, that is the money on shares, he should allot the shares to the applicants within a period of 60 days. Within a period of 60 days, he has to allot the shares to them. Now, if the company does not allot the shares within 60 days, within the next 15 days, the company has to repay the application money. Okay, are you following? If they don't give the money within 60 days, allot the shares within 60 days, within the next 15 days, the company has to return the money that they have paid on the shares. And if they don't return the money within 15 days, then the company has to pay this application money along with interest of 12%. So if the company delays, the amount of application money along with 12% interest has to be returned back to the shareholders. So the last point, please make a note again, time period. Please remember this, a company should allot shares within 60 days of receiving the application money. So once you receive the application money, within 60 days, the company has to allot the shares. Now, if the company does not allot the shares within 15 days, then he has to return back this money within the next 15 days from that date. Now, if he doesn't do it, he pays that money along with 12% interest. That is the rule of the Companies Act. So this is what he has to do. Okay, so these are the features of private placement. So to revise it or summarize it, the first one, as I told you, the money cannot be distributed to more than 200 people. No cash can be paid. It is done through a check or banking mode of payment, and no advertisement of any sort can be made. And shares are allotted only to those people that are chosen by the company. Once the shares are allotted, all information of allotment has to be paid, information of allotment has to be given to the register of companies within 30 days. And if they don't allot the shares within 60 days, within the next 15 days, they have to return the application money or pay interest of 12%. I hope I am very clear to you on all this. Now, the fourth mode of raising capital. Please recollect, the first mode was IPO, second one was book building process, third one was private placement. Now, I am coming to the fourth mode of raising capital, and that is employee stock option plan. Okay, employee stock option plan. Now, I will read the definition for you given, you look at your screen. As per the Companies Act 2013, employee stock option plan means, see, an option is given to directors, officers or employees of a company, okay, where the benefit or right to purchase shares of the company is given to them at a future date at a predetermined price. Now, the word itself, employee stock option plan, it tells you that shares are being given to the people working in the company. Directors are also working, they are receiving a salary, they don't own the company, please remember that, they manage the company. Okay, so directors are also employees of the company, officers working in the company, and employees, the staff of the company. Okay, now what is done here? This is a special type of shares which is given only to them. Okay, they can buy these shares. Now, it is given to them, they can buy these shares at a future date. They will give them a time, because see, you have to also make arrangements for your finance. So, at a future date, at a predetermined price, they will tell you the price of the shares. So, if you are interested and the rate is agreeable to them, they will buy the shares. Now, we will see why they are offering these shares to the employees. Okay, it is done with an intention, and that I will be telling you now. Now, the features of employee stock option plan. The first one, the short form, okay. ESOP, also referred to as sweat equity shares, is a voluntary scheme offered by companies to its employees. Now, see, when I say sweat equity shares, the word sweat, when do we sweat? When it is hot or you are doing hard work. Please remember, the word sweat is related to hard work. So, people are working very hard in a company. They are putting in their best for the company. So, what the company wants to do, it's a voluntary scheme. The company is not making it compulsory that you have to buy the shares in the company. But what they are doing, it is a voluntary scheme offered by companies to its employees. So, the company is offering me a chance first to buy the shares because I am working in the company. And I would be very happy to buy the shares because I am working hard in the company. So, when the company does well, I am going to benefit. That is the intention behind this. Okay? So, when they offer the shares to directors, officers or employees, they know that these people are going to work very hard, because whatever is earned by the company will also be shared among them. Because if the company makes high profits, the dividend go up. If the dividend go up, when I have shares in a company, I am going to earn a higher rate of dividend. So this is how it goes. Okay? So the first point of employee stock option plan is referred to as sweat equity. Remember, sweat is related to hard work. Sweat equity shares, and it is a voluntary scheme. No one is forcing you to buy the shares. It is of your own free will that you will buy the shares. Okay? And it is given only to the employees of the company. Now, second one, ESOP is to retain high caliber employees and make them feel a sense of belonging so that they participate in the management of the company. High caliber employees, people who are very efficient. Now, when people are very efficient, there are other companies waiting to grab them to do their work. Please remember that. Okay, when you are good at your work, anyone is ready to take you in their company, employ you in their company. So, this is a temptation for the employee. They tempt the employee, please buy the shares of our company. Because once you buy shares, you say, okay, I have shares in the company and I'm going to work hard in that company. Okay? So, this is a temptation to retain high caliber employees, very efficient employees, and once they buy shares, they feel, okay, I belong to this company. I'm not going to go from here, I belong here. And they start working in the company with extra effort. Now, these employees can subscribe for securities when the scheme is in operation. Only when the company comes up with the scheme, at that time they can apply for the shares. So, I put a pic for you here, a picture where you can see an employee. The moment the company is coming up with an ESOP, he is ready to go to buy the shares. Okay? So, he grants a right to the employee. So, only the employees have a right. Nobody else can buy these shares. A right is given to the employee to subscribe for securities when the scheme is in operation. It has to be in operation, otherwise you cannot buy these shares. Please remember that. Okay? Then, the company cannot issue sweat equity shares for more than 5% of the paid up capital or the value of shares issued worth rupees 5 crores, whichever is higher. So, how much can be given to the employees? There is a cutoff limit made by the company. The cutoff limit is 5% of the paid up capital. Okay? The limit is 5% of the paid up capital. Whatever may be the paid up capital, they cannot give more than 5% to the employees of the company. Only that much. Or if you take it in worth of rupees, you can say that it should not be more than 5 crores. Okay, whichever is higher. If 5% comes to higher, you can apply, you can say I am issuing 5% of the paid up capital. Or if 5 crores is higher than 5%, then you will say I am going to give 5 crores as paid up capital to the employees. So, this is the limit. The company cannot exceed this limit. Now, the fifth feature of ESOP is any share issued under the ESOP shall be locked in for a period of 1 year from the date of allotment. Now, what is the meaning of this? It means that once you buy the shares, these shares remain for a lock-in period of 1 year. So, if you need the money during this 1 year, you would not be advised to invest the money here. Because for 1 year, you will not be able to utilize this money for anything else. It will remain with the company for 1 year. Okay? So, please remember, any shares that you buy under the employee stock option plan remains locked in for a period of 1 year from the date the company allots the shares to you. So, if you need the money during this 1 year, you would be advised not to invest it in this. Invest in some other scheme. But if you don't need that money for 1 year, then you can invest your money in ESOP. And the last point of employee stock option plan, these shares, once they are given to an employee, they cannot be transferred to anyone. You cannot transfer it to anyone. You are an employee of the company, the shares remain with you, for you. You cannot transfer it to anyone. Okay, so these are the features of employee stock option plan. I hope you have understood this clearly. So now in primary market, we did 4 modes of raising capital. Okay, IPO, the book building process, private placement, and employee stock option plan. So with this, I will end my lesson for today.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.